talk about the ball game on Saturday night. These games are what they are every year. You know, 1 year out of 20, UAB or Troy shows up. The other ones are laughers, and that's what this was on Saturday night. Now, whether you do enjoy it as a time to go tailgating, you do enjoy it as maybe a chance to bring the kiddos to the game. I mean, my niece came to her first game ever. She's 3, had a ball. Or maybe you just don't feel like going and you give your ticket to somebody else because you think that it's a waste of time. Whatever. But there are times where you can look at some things and actually take them out of this game. And I harped all week last week on the fact that I wanted to see Jaden Daniels play from the pocket. And he was excellent on Saturday night. New Mexico's not that good, but he was a different quarterback in that game, even different than he was against Southern, which is another team that LSU is going to run over, and did. I thought there were some specific plays that I looked at in the game where he looked like a pocket passer. There was a 3rd and goal from the 32 that LSU had been backed up, penalties and whatnot. There were 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, and it's 3rd and goal from the 32, and he sits in the pocket. He got to his 3rd or 4th read and got over to Cole Taylor, who picked up, 17 yards or something. But it was just he went through all his progressions. It was a 1st and 10 in the 3rd quarter. 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, he scrambled to the right, never dropped his head to try to make a run. He was looking down the field the entire time, hit Malik Neighbors for 16 yards. Malik almost dropped it, but he hit him and got 16 yards. Then a couple plays later, there was a 4th and 5. They blitzed him, and he did tuck it and run. Now, that's the play I ended up actually getting hurt on. But I thought his decision-making was great. He looked calm and collected in the pocket. He didn't have happy feet, and he delivered the football accurately. He was 24 of 29 in the game, 279 yards, and didn't turn the football over. And then when he had to run, he did 9 times for 37 yards, had the 23-yarder. I thought Jaden Daniels played a great game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for him, he had a couple missed throws early on in that game, but I think for the most part, accurate the football. I thought him getting the ball deep to Hilton early. I thought that was a huge boost for his confidence, making those big time throws. I really can't remember too many more throughout the season that he's thrown that far, but I think if he's comfortable making those type of throws, the sky could be the limit for this offense, because you do, like we've been preaching all along, you have so many weapons on the outside, and these kids are just going to continue to get hope. And I know it's New Mexico. We're not pumping too much here, but I think for Jaden, just watching him kind of get comfortable in this offense, the offensive line, who I think we've kind of bashed so much and not giving those guys credit. They're giving him time to survey the field, giving him time, to look downfield and make throws, and they're giving him running lanes to rush. And so those guys are getting better as well each week. And so I think looking at the way Jaden played, that's something you can continue to build upon. I think the receivers are starting to get a lot more confidence in him. And the only thing I would say is we kind of want him to slide a little more when he gets to the second level. Because, as the competition gets up, those hits are going to be a lot harder. So let's try to get him to getting some slides down, get to the next play, because, those hits could definitely take you out of game down the season.
You were certainly first on this mountain, and I climbed up there eventually, but it proved itself to be true in this game. Now, again, it's not exactly Florida's defense here, but there are a lot of things that have to happen in the pass game for it to work. You got to play up front and block. We know you've got to see the field as the quarterback. You got to deliver the ball. Guys got to get open, and then you got to make the catch. So there are a lot of different pieces, but the end of those pieces is something that we don't have really any concerns about. Malik Neighbors is going to get open. Jack Besh is going to get open. Kayshawn's going to get open. Jeray Jenkins going to get open. We've seen Brian Thomas now make big plays. Chris Hilton make a big play. Like that part of it, we don't really have to worry about at the wide receiver spot. So. And we don't have to worry about Jaden Daniels being like immature or not. He's played a lot of football, and if that offensive line can hold up a little bit, and he starts to see the field the way that he did, and be more patient in allowing himself to see the field, you may have something here with this offense.
Yeah, I think so, because the biggest thing I've noticed between this year and last year is just the play calling. Denbrock has done a phenomenal job, and I know sometimes, especially in that Florida State game, it could be very frustrating as a fan. It's like, why aren't we converting? Why aren't we doing things? Guys are getting open, and I think as a coordinator, you can only draw it up. You can take the horse to the water. You can't make them drink. And so I think for Jaden, Once he starts drinking a lot more, it's going to his offense. You're going to see the yards piling up. You're going to see the passing touchdowns pile up, and that's not even talking about the run game, which I think has gotten a huge boost. I know it's New Mexico and Southern, whatever, but I think the run game is something. Then see Noah Kane kind of get in the mix. So this offense, they have weapons. I think a lot more than Coach Kelly's had, especially on the outside. And you see him and Denbrock really dialing stuff up and get these guys going a lot.
To me, I may have never in my life seen a box score more noteworthy than the one we saw on Saturday. I mean, they were doing things they hadn't done since 1977 on Saturday, and we'll get into some of that because it's interesting to kind of hear those stats. But to me, the far more interesting piece was not the laughable statistical gap between these two teams. It was what I saw with my eyes, that it just looked different, and they had clearly emphasized, Jaden, hey, man, running around is really good a lot of the time, but it'll be better if you just do that when you have to, a la 4th and 5, as opposed to, he's not open, let's go. Because if you just sit back there and let him go, that makes things a lot easier. So I thought that was really, really good. You mentioned the run game. Noah Kane breaks the long one for 49 yards. They got John Emery Jr. involved. My biggest takeaway from the run game actually early on until he got hurt was the fact that I think Armani Goodwin's kind of their lead dog right now. Now, that may change. He goes down with what didn't look like a great injury. Brian Kelly today in his press conference said it's going to be a day-to-day type thing. And we'll see. Hopefully he's ready to go in a week. Seems a little bit unlikely to me, but I don't know anything. All I know is what Brian Kelly said. It just didn't look great coming off the field. But it seemed like that they had kind of decided that he was their lead back, which surprised me.
Yeah, no, I think he's had the most success so far. Obviously, we know he got banged up, something he had to deal with a ton last year, but he's been running consistently hard, and that's something I noticed in the spring game. He just had a little more torque to him this season, and he's been running extremely hard. Guys are getting out of his way. That Mississippi State touchdown he had, guys are just getting out of his way, and then he's walking into the end zone. So if I know Frank Wilson the way I know him, you're going to gain a lot of favor with him as hard as you run the ball. And so, it's unfortunate that kind of, that guy probably may miss some time here. But I think as the run game as a whole, seeing kind of Kane get back into the mix, I'm still waiting on Emery to pop a little bit. He just looks little steps slower than I remember him being, especially in that Alabama game. But hopefully as the season goes on, he can kind of get his legs under him more and continue to attack that way. But anytime you got to respect Jaden Daniels pulling that ball out in the quarterback read option stuff, I think it helps these guys out a ton. And they're getting a lot more push up the middle. I think with Bradford in there, and Dellinger's done a great job up the middle as well all season too. Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.